Joe here, and I'm with Andy from COROMEGA at our Hemp and CBD Health and Beauty Care session. So thank you for joining us.
Love being here, Joe. Thank you.
Great to have you. So for the audience, I'd like to, if you can give us a little background on your company, because I'd like
Sure.
to get into how you're addressing this new market. But let's start with the background. Tell us about your company.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because the whole hemp CBD area is so new, so a lot of people associate that with new companies and new brands. We've been around for 20 years, but not doing CBD.
Yes.
Our entire history is with essential fatty acids and fish oil. So we like to think that fat's finally cool again, that people are finally realizing that healthy fats are healthy and sugar is the devil, right? So fat's good, fat's the new black, and we've been doing that since 1999.
Wow, so
with
you're ahead of
fish
that
oil.
curve. Yeah,
I think a little ahead of our time, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
okay.
And but fortunately now, as this is coming on stream, all of our technology and background in healthy fats, we're applying to the new era of CBD. So we have our own factory in San Diego, and in fact, for those that are not familiar with the COROMEGA brand, we're not a pill. So if a lot of fish oils are sold as a pill, that's wonderful. We actually brought over a patent from Norway in 1999 for emulsifying fat. So for the scientists out there, emulsification is like mayonnaise. A mayonnaise, you got your egg, you got your oil, but miraculously when you emulsify them, you get the wonderful form of mayonnaise. So we actually emulsify fish oil, so it's like a sports gel. So if you've ever had a Cliff Shot or a goo and you squeeze it out, it's more like a gel or a pudding. Our fish oil is like that. And the reason we do that is because oils in general are difficult for the body to absorb. This is an important fact as we talk about CBD. When people get fish burps, it's because your body is struggling to digest the oil.
Okay.
So by emulsifying it, some people call this nanotechnology, really it's making the molecules smaller, easier for the body to digest. So we actually have 18 clinical studies on our fish oil side demonstrating 300% better absorption versus a soft gel. That brings us to today.
Okay,
so why are we at the CBD
Yes,
conference?
how did that happen? Yeah,
Well, a number of years ago, before the whole CBD craze, we had some of our retail partners say, you know, I love that you're doing fish oil. We got a lot of organic and natural and vegetarian consumers. Can you make us a vegetarian source omega-3? So we started working with hemp seed oil. So for those that aren't familiar, hemp seed oil is
kind of getting,
And we have a product called Be Bright. It's our COROMEGA Be Bright, and it is absolutely delicious. No fish oil. It's a blend of 5 essential oils, including hemp and avocado and black cumin seed, and it tastes fantastic. So here we are today. The CBD in the Farm Bill is making it more feasible to work with CBD and hemp. We've already been playing with hemp. We've been playing with fats for 20 years. So we are now launching the first shot-based CBD product starting this April. So our COROMEGA Squeeze Shot, which looks like a little goo, we're making that format for CBD.
Okay.
Now here's the cool thing. CBD is an oil, and we know that oils are difficult for the body to digest. All the companies out there doing the little tincture bottles, which is this oil dripper, that's hard to digest. So our emulsification process for fish oil, we're applying without fish oil to CBD. It's a wonderful way to take the product. It tastes fantastic. We're actually doing a chocolate flavor.
Nice.
And that way, when you take it, it tastes good.
Yeah.
The biggest question we've heard from a lot of retailers is, these tinctures out there, they seem so messy to dose. And when you read online, like, I'm supposed to take 10 milligrams a day or 20, well, when you do the little dosing bottle, who knows how many drops you're getting? So we have something we're describing as precision dose technology. Our little squeeze shot, because we can control exactly what goes in. When you take our 10 dose CBD, you're getting 10.
Yeah.
When you take our 25 dose CBD, you're getting 25. There's no question, there's no obfuscation or confusion. So that's what's coming out in April from us, and we're doing chocolate and we're also doing lemon.
What I've noticed, because I've done some observations, walked around and met with suppliers, following along some retailers. And what I've noticed is the mass retailers, a lot of the suppliers that are here, some of them are startups.
Yes.
And they may have been working, and they're in thousands of stores of independents, natural, natural product stores. But now they're kind of dealing with the mass retailers. You've been already dealing with the mass retailers already. What is going to be the difference in, what can they expect when they're dealing with mass retailers?
So it's so funny
now?
you say this. A little earlier this morning in one of our retail meetings, the guy said, the gentleman said, Andy, we asked if they had UPCs for one of these other products. And they said, what's the UPC code?
Gotcha.
So It's shocking, but when it's a young brand and maybe they've never sold to mass retail, they're not necessarily aware of UPC codes, QR codes for transparency, GMP certified facilities, assays and testing for the oil. We've been dealing with healthy fats, third-party certification for 20 years. It's a big difference, really big difference. I think some of these startup players, while they may have some wonderful ideas, they don't necessarily have full control of the process. When we're sourcing our oil, we're sourcing from Colorado, grown, harvested, and tested. We're doing a no THC product, chromatographic testing for THC. These are the kinds of things that mass retailers, they need.
And they're asking for. They're asking.
You think a lot of the retailers we work with, they actually have pharmacy departments. And if you're a pharmacist, you're used to controlled prescriptions, right? So you're expecting that same level of control and process when it comes to a CBD product. And a lot of these players don't necessarily have, I hope they get it, they don't necessarily have it today. So we're able to provide a GMP certified facility. That's our own facility. These guys don't necessarily have that. Fully controlled sourcing with certificate of origin, assay, and pre and post testing. All that is transparent and available to our retail partners. We're even offering retailers for tours of our facility as well.
All right.
The level of openness and transparency that they would expect.
You addressed a good point. Yeah, that's because from what I've been seeing, it's some of the retailers, the larger retailers, are taking a wait-and-see approach, or they want to be fast followers. And they really want to be sure they're getting into this the right way. They're not, and that their risk is minimized.
Absolutely.
So are you hearing a lot from these retailers about that? They're looking, they want as much information as they can get to make them feel comfortable to make that journey.
And we have to do that together with them. And I think it's important for both sides to be communicating. We're not here to sell, we're here to share. I think this is all going to resolve itself over the next 12 to 18 months. But in the meantime, some retailers want to move more quickly, some more conservatively. Because we are already a facility, guess what? We're very conservative, meaning I would not want any government agencies coming into our facility saying you're doing this incorrectly. So we spend a long time vetting this out ourselves. I think that's going to give a little bit of assurance to the retail partners as well, and we completely understand their conservatism. So I think the Farm Bill passing is clarifying the legality. However, the FDA description was relatively vague, and while I think that's going to resolve itself out, we want to be ready for when the retailers are ready. And I think that comes down to that level of sharing.
What does that mean for you guys and the retailers, the vagueness of the FDA, and we're still waiting for the opinion. And I know some retailers are very worried about, well, what if I put some stuff on the shelf and then the opinion goes against?
It's
how you deal with that.
I think it's extremely unlikely. I think that there's a lot of bipartisan support for progress and moving forward. And with the Farm Bill passing, I think that's giving the legalization of the oil itself. A year ago, we might have been considered a class 1 drug facility by working with CBD. That's now clarified. I think retailers are in a good place, whether they're moving quickly or more slowly. I think it's important for them to track very closely with the legal aspect. And I can't advise on that other than to say, as a conservative company ourselves, we're finally able to move in this area and feel good about it. We're hoping that they're ready to consider brands like ours when they're ready, when they feel that comfort. There was a panelist on Monday's discussion, which was a great panel, by the way, and he kind of said it this way: the legal part is kind of getting resolved, the moral part is still an open question, and I think this gray area is what some of the retailers are also struggling with. I will say, personally, what I've been most surprised about, because I don't participate, there's no judgment from me on THC, it's just not my world. So when we first started looking at this as a company, I thought this might be a millennial kind of hippie thing, but everybody I've talked to, it's the broadest assortment of people I've ever seen for a category, right? We went to our stakeholder investors who are all in their 70s and early 80s. I mean, these guys are athletes, they're forward, they're intelligent, but I thought they were going to resist, and the first thing they said to me was, well, when are we doing it? Because I got some aches and pains, and CBD is supposed to be good for inflammation.
They're interested in it,
and that's what the 70 set. Now, the younger set, one of our team members, she has an autistic child. She's like, I want that today because of my autistic child. One of our other team members, she has anxiety on airplanes. She wants it for anxiety. So I have never seen a segment that has such a broad appeal and such a self-educated consumer. So I actually think consumers are certainly ahead of the retailers and ahead of the brands like us. They led me for sure. I think that's going to really help when the retailers are ready. They're going to find a very self-educated consumer demographic out there, which is great.
All right, so what would you recommend to the mass retailers looking to get involved? how should they approach it, especially
Great
considering the risk and
Yeah.
the risk, their perceived risk?
Oh, no, I understand. I think for me, if I was a retailer today, first of all, get yourself as educated as possible. Events like what ECRM is hosting this week is fantastic for that. The retailers are meeting with us. We're sharing with them. We're saying, hey guys, you may be ready, you may not be ready. We want to share with you what we're doing. We're available to you as a resource afterwards for questions they may have. But the first thing I think these retailers need to understand is not every brand is as vetted or put together as some of the other categories they're used to.
Okay.
There are some fantastic brands in our industry, and they have got every certification we do.
Yeah.
I would say first start to look at these guys and say, any new brand you're considering, do they have third-party testing? Do they have GMP process in their facility? Do they own their own facility? How are they controlling the oil? Is the oil that they're obtaining, the CBD oil, coming from a country that maybe doesn't control things or have verification? Ours, for example, is going to be grown and harvested in Colorado. We're doing pre and post testing and assays and certificate of origin. Ask these questions so that you know that the oil is what you need it to be. You're not going to have surprises later. We've actually had some other retailers tell us they've had products tested where the CBD level wasn't there after the fact. Well, that's because these guys aren't controlling their processes. So really get under the tarp, the way you've done it, the retailers have done in other categories. Don't forget that when you're applying it to CBD, it's a great opportunity. We also don't want to be in a place a year from now where reputations have been affected by things not being what you say they are. When we're talking to retailers that have been around 100 years, those reputations are built over a long time. We have to respect that. Just like our reputation over 20 years, I want someone to be able to walk into our facility and say, you know what, this is the gold standard blue chip approach, and everybody can have confidence. And that's what's going to really build this industry. If we're all working together and doing the right thing for ourselves and our shoppers, everybody's going to be happy. I have to be willing to take it myself, Joe.
All right, well, we're glad to have you, and I look forward to seeing your success with the new line of products.
Joe, thank you, buddy. Really
Thank
wonderful.
you. All right.